Hey, everybody. It is Lenora from It's a New Dawn. I always introduce myself. I just say, It's Lenora from It's a New Dawn. But for those who don't know and who haven't looked at or listened to my other podcast, I am an RN holistic health coach. And my whole life, pretty much, I'm almost 56, has been about health, wellness, and helping others achieve equilibrium in their lives. And that's my main purpose in life. I live, eat, and breathe it. So I hope this podcast helps even one person. And I know it has because it has just branched off. And my guest today is actually one of these people that I have found through doing my other podcast with a young lady named Rawr Hoffman. Rawr was on my podcast, I think 5 episodes ago, but she made a big impact. And I've actually sat down with at least 1 or 2 other people who I found through Rawr. And this is one of the people. Her name is Laura Baird.
Baird.
Lori Baird. Sorry. And through TikTok. I don't even know if I should even say TikTok anymore because everybody's been from TikTok. But I found her through Rawr, and she runs a group on Facebook called the Sunshine Crew Mental Health Support Group. And it's a really sweet Facebook group. I just joined it, and you're working up on the people that are joining there, but you have over 100 people on there. So it's a private group. But I wanted Lori on because it is all about helping others, making that connection, finding support. And she talks about mental health and support. So I'd love to hear your story. I don't know a lot about Lori, but everybody who I've spoken to on the podcast, I have connected with in some way, in a beautiful way. So I appreciate everybody. So I'm going to turn the camera over to you, and you just go wherever you want to go, and I'll kind of weave my way in there with you. So
Thank you so much, Lenora. I love your TikTok. I love that we met through Rawr. She's amazing. Yeah, and the group really started because I found TikTok to be extremely therapeutic. That support system is just amazing. And how it all started for me was, I guess when, I took the ACEs test, ACE, and I scored higher on that than I did on my SATs. I was like,
so what is that? What is that? Is that your personality thing?
No, that's like that goes through a list of questions. I think it's only like 10 questions. I think it's been a while, but it kind of talks about like, have you been through divorce in childhood? Were there incidents in childhood where there was trauma? Certain questions like that. And so,
what does ACE stand for, though? What is it?
Remember?
Oh, okay.
Look it up. It's one of those tests where you can look it up online. It's ACE, the ACE test. The expert on it. I just took it and I was like, dang, I scored higher on that than I did my SATs. What's wrong with me?
Yeah. And before you continue, just an FYI, people, those of you on YouTube are seeing that every once in a while your voice is kind of fading out, but those on audio with the major platforms, Apple and all that, you're not going to see that. So that's happening. And FYI again, for those who don't know, I am doing this all myself. This is not the most technically advanced podcast, but that's okay. I just took the chance and just did it through Gary V. Gary V, thank you. Anybody who doesn't know him, look him up, motivational speaker, but got my butt in gear just to do it. So I'm doing it. I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. But unfortunately, Lori, every once in a while your voice is kind of going in and out, but just to let you guys know that. So go ahead. So you took the ACE test. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about doing things too. Especially Gary V's the one that got me on TikTok.
Me too.
Oh my gosh, Gary V rocks. Yes. Okay. So yeah, and I did too. know what, I'm going to start my own thing too. I want to do it. It's my passion. I love it. I'm going to do it. So I just do it. So I'm with you on that. And also, I'm not a doctor at all. And I want everybody to know that even though I like to speak about my story and what helps me, everybody's different. What works for me doesn't work for everybody. And so with that, ACEs test, yeah, so I took that. I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, I don't know one single solitary person that hasn't experienced adversity, some sort of trauma, grief, something in their lives. It's how we process it. We are all so much similar than we are different. And for me, it was, I partied when I was in my 20s. I drank like a fish. I smoked cigarettes and other things. And, I was a wild child. I was told at a young age I couldn't have children. So at that point, I thought, okay, well, my aunt was told she couldn't have children. So I thought, in the back of my mind, okay, I was like maybe 21 when I was told this. So I get married, and it was time to think about having children. We tried for 11 years. And during that time, I stopped smoking. I stopped drinking. I went to integrative OBGYN. I spoke to the nutritionist, to my doctors. I had a team around me to work through every holistic, every medical, everything I could possibly do to try to get pregnant. And the very last thing they said, okay, you're starting to absorb your nutrients. You seem like you're doing the right thing with your exercise, not too much. You're not obsessed. It's, you're doing the right amount. It all kind of was falling into place, except for they said, you need to de-stress now.
Okay.
Like
always crack me up, right? It's like, I have 5 kids, right? Within 8 years, people. And I say that a lot. I've been listening to all my podcasts, and I'm like getting disgusted because I repeat words, and I'm so sorry. People, I say a lot, and I'm like, need to stop. But anyway, and I'd go to the doctor and back in the day, and all of them are like little, and 2 have epilepsy, and I go to the doctor, my stomach. Oh, you need to de-stress. Okay. You want to come to my house? I don't have any help. I don't know. Like, what's the answer, doc? So go ahead.
Yeah. Best is, oh, take a vacation, and everybody's like, oh, you're trying to get pregnant,
yeah.
and take a vacation. Stop thinking about, stop worrying. Okay, I have anxiety, and I have a high stress job, and it's easier said than done. My digestive tract, it's all connected, mind, body, spirit. That once you get your food right, and you have the acupuncture, I was going to take massages, and I was the chiropractor. I was doing all the right things. I was doing the yoga. I was doing meditation. I tried that. I tried everything. I was doing what I was told to do, all the holistic, all the medical, everything. So cut to, there was an unfortunate death in the family, but before that, he was in a coma. So we went back to a different state. And of course, when someone is in a coma, you don't do anything. You're in a different state. You're not working. You're not thinking of anything. And it's fortunate. And we were there for, a week or so. We came back, and within a few days he had passed. So we went back to the funeral. And of course, then again, you don't do anything. And so this was after years of trying, getting my body into shape. And I go into the doctor because I'm like, oh, my stomach feels funny. Maybe now I'm having some issues with rice, because I was gluten-free at the time since 2005. And I'm like, okay, here is another digestive issue. And my husband at the time was like, no, go to the doctor. And so I go in, I'm like, yeah, it's probably just something I ate. And they say I'm pregnant. I'm like, I can't get pregnant.
Oh.
And I text him, I'm pregnant. And he said later, the minute you text me was the minute he passed a month ago. He was pulling some strings. So I believe that it was his father that had passed, and that he was the one that was pulling some strings. Like God was.
Wow. Yes. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
It was a miracle. And I thought, okay, well, I'd had an ectopic pregnancy before, miscarriages, like, okay, are we going to carry this to term? So, of course, at the time I was 40. And so I'm doing everything again that I can to keep, we went through the process of fostering to adopt. And we had just
Hmm.
signed on the dotted line. And I said, okay, well, I'm pregnant. And I hope that this one, it goes to term. And they said,
Right.
that's okay. Go ahead and, continue the classes, and we'll, keep you updated and all that. And so, yeah, I ended up having to go on bed rest, full term, healthy baby. He's 10 now, and
Wow.
a miracle child.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and I think also that had that not happened, I wonder if I had started therapy earlier for some of the trauma that I had experienced in my life, that possibly that might have helped with the stress. Because when we go into therapy, I feel like, that's why I say, what's beneath your smile? It's
Right,
times
right.
all have something beneath our smile, especially we've seen it with Robin Williams, the comedians, everybody who's laughing, the people who are the happiest and most positive and outgoing tend to have the harshest upbringing or the harshest story that we hear. And so I always think, what is beneath your smile? Can we get to therapy? Can we talk about the trauma so we can get to the place where we're smiling out of pure joy and satisfaction? I almost feel like we need a new system where, how you pass somebody in the hallways, where I work at a school, and it's like, oh, how are you? I'm good, thanks. How are you? I feel like we need hey, how are you? I'm about a 3 today. How about you? I'm about an 8. Anything I can do to support you? Like we need to.
Lori, did you listen to Dylan's podcast with me?
No, I haven't.
Dylan Sessler?
No, I haven't.
We taught, Dylan Sessler on TikTok? He's pretty huge. He's got like 40, 50,000 followers. I don't know. He was on my podcast, and he's a motivational speaker. He's
Gentlemen.
really wonderful. But it was exact conversation. It's almost like verbatim, well, different wording, but we were talking about how, we pass each other and we say, how you doing? And, okay, but are you really okay? You're not
Right.
okay. Most
Because
of the time,
yeah,
right?
we don't
So
want to feel.
exactly what you're saying.
Is he the older gentleman?
No, he's only 30. By the way, people, again, I'm saying people, my
People.
light, my ring light, I said it with Dylan's, it just flops out on me. So now I'm dark, and I'm trying to turn on some lights here. So in my tiny little house here, all right, is that better? Am I a little bit lighter?
Yeah, you look bright and cheery. Yes, you need to do a tiny home tour. I love tiny homes.
I didn't know that. So it's a little
Oh,
over 300 square feet. My intention is that it could fit 4 women. I say women because that's really what I want to focus on with the retreats. Like, I want to do some kind of women retreat here. I live on 17 acres and I live in a log cabin. So it's set up as a log cabin, and it's very cozy. It has a little pantry in here, a fake fireplace, but the fireplace works. It gives off heat. You see my bear picture there. Yeah, that's my intention, is to do like I'm a Reiki master, yoga teacher, personal trainer, nutritional counselor. So I don't know, I can integrate everything. So that's my idea. So once everything settles down, but it's been really nice. So I just come in here, do my podcast, do my nutritional counseling with clients. It's quiet. It's like a she cave. But unfortunately, this is what happens with the light. So I'm a little bit dark, but I love you guys, and you know that. So, but
that
anyway,
doesn't
you
make.
were talking. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's all right. It'll all come together. You've got the intention, you got the vision, you got the go get. You're gonna have it. It's gonna
I
happen.
know, right? Do you want to talk about some of your story? Like, do you want to talk about that, or you want to kind of leave that out?
Yeah, I think with a lot of my story came from going to a lot of different schools as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And we went every 2 or 3 years. We doubled school. Like we would go, it's a long story, but it felt like to me, the bullies, everybody has experienced teasing or bullies and in some form, everybody. For me, it was, I'd rather be dead than red on the head. Oh, Carrot Top. Oh, what a weirdo. What a freak, new girl. So it was very difficult for me to make friends. So I felt like a loner because every school I went to, I heard the same thing. I went through, and it wouldn't have bothered me as much if the home life wasn't as adverse, I guess is the words we're using politically. But there was a lot of trauma in my childhood that, most people probably go through. And not that I want to not say what I went through, but I also don't want to hurt others that might hear this with details of it. So that's, I keep it in therapy. But what I will touch on is that going through what I went through, by the time I was in 9th grade, I wanted to end it and attempted suicide. And
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
It was one of those things where nobody knew because my dad had left for work. My brother had left for school. I was supposed to leave for school. We were kind of on our own. We walked to school, that kind of thing. He drove his car. I was in 9th grade. He was, I think, a senior in high school. And I just didn't want to go back and face any more of that feeling, being in that school, of feeling so awkward and alone and teased and unseen. And, no wonder I couldn't take a test. My mind was all over the place with how will I survive this day? Not what is 2 + 2, not in 9th grade. And so I went.
Where were you living then? Where were you living?
I was living at my dad's house. It was my dad and my brother.
What state?
Oh, I grew up in Ohio. And then after I grew up in Ohio, I moved to Florida for a little bit. And then I spent the last 3 decades in Colorado. And now I'm back in Ohio. And now we're going to move to Michigan. But the day that I took those pills, I remember getting up and thinking, nobody's in the house. I don't want to go on. I didn't do my homework. I don't want to face these bullies. I don't want to go into the school. I feel unseen and heard, and I feel ugly. The 9th grade, we just feel ugly. We just had our pictures taken. They came back. They look horrible. So I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
And the popular kids and all that and the whole clique and this, that, and the other. And and this was before internet and before, cell phones. And this, I made it to 51. So I'm close to your age. So we didn't have all that growing up. And so I went in my 9th grade. I don't know what that is. 12, 13, 14. How old are you? I was thinking
14. I'm 14.
The only thing that I could think of was, why don't I just take a bunch of pills? So I go into the medicine cabinet and grab pills and go to my brother's water bed because I was forbidden to be in his room. I take all and lay on his water bed like, that's what you're going to take.
There, right?
Minute, because brothers tease too. So yeah, I laid on the water bed and I got sick and I ended up throwing up and I ended up just telling my dad I got sick and I didn't go to school that day. But I can remember thinking, at the time after I threw up and then being afraid of telling my dad that why didn't I go to school and how I'm going to make it into the next day and what I'm going to do to the next day, I remember thinking, okay, God does have a plan for me. What's it going to be? I am bigger than just myself. The world is bigger than just me and my stupid problems. I remember thinking that at that young of an age. And I can remember as far back as 3rd grade, I think it was, when a different school where a girl was teasing, like, I would rather be dead than red on the head as we were walking home. And I made a TikTok about it. And this corner, I went back to that corner. And I just remember cutting that corner in the grass and thinking as she's walking behind me with her friend saying that, and I'm walking alone to get home, I just remember thinking, oh, in the next life, she's going to be a redhead.
You know what? I first of all, I was ready to cry when you tell well, everybody who knows me now, if you've been joining me, knows that I'm very sensitive, and I'm good with that. I cry a lot of times on the podcast, but I was because the pain that I, now you have your child, you have your son, right? He's 10. Could you, like, I'm sure you've imagined if he was hurt by other people and how it just like goes like so deep, and to feel like I've been through not the same thing as you, but I've been close to suicide many times in my life. The pain that we feel, no child should ever feel that way. You know, it's like I want to cry for you because I can put myself in you and know how you're feeling, and it hurts so deeply. Nobody should ever have to go through that, and talking like this, I think it's so good. And the karma you're talking about, we don't have to ever wish it. It happens, you know, there's no other way around it. Like when people say, oh, karma's going to get them, or I don't even go there because I know it's sad to me because I know it's going to come back to them,
Right.
you know, so you don't even have to, you know, think it, but it hurts. It hurts.
Well, and I've learned
Words are powerful. They are
powerful.
very powerful. And to think of you, I don't care what the pills were. They could have been candy, you know, the fact that you felt like you needed to take this bottle at in ninth grade, where you're supposed to be laughing and hanging with friends, and you know what I mean? And the pain you must have felt. That it kills me. I hate it. I hate thinking that, you know.
Right.
I'm sad for you.
And
I'm you know,
thank you. It's
makes
one of
me
the
sad.
when I see kids now, because I do work in the school system, and I see my kiddos' friends, and I correct them quite a bit, certain things that they'll say about other kids or just teasing and things. And I see them do it behind their back, or I'll be with another student and I'll overhear something. And I'll think, why is this still going on? Why are we still feeling that we have to put someone else down? And that's why I am now, like, in my adult years, I feel like, okay, I want to be that positive person to attract positive, like-minded people. You know, I may not be positive all the time. Lord knows I struggle with depression and anxiety. There's days that I feel like I cannot even get out of the bed, but I still want to attract people who have been through it, who are going through therapy, who are trying to find resources and tools that work for them, who want to help guide me and I help guide them. You know, with therapy, it's nothing but talking about yourself and somebody kind of guiding you gently in the direction that you could go, which has been extremely helpful. But I feel like it's still to this day unfortunate that we're still having so many teen suicides. I don't understand and fix this, you know?
We can't, you know what, Lori? I don't mean to sound, but I don't, and I don't mean to sound pessimistic, but I don't think it'll ever go away. But doing stuff that we do is going to help a lot. You know, the things that you do, the things that I do, spreading awareness and making people aware. I see it a lot more now. I see it a lot more being out there. I mean, when I was going through mine, nobody knew about it. You know, my bulimia, my this, my that. It was all in hiding, you know. It's like I had a boyfriend at 16 who said, if you weren't so fat, I'd go out with you again. Well, those little bit of words, those words. And I wasn't, I mean, I was maybe a little heavier than that. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. But those words, and it wasn't just the words. I can't say it was just the words, but I remember it like it's yesterday, and I'm almost 56. I was 16 or 15. They're powerful. That led me down this path of destruction like crazy, but I never said anything. You know, I never said I was abused by a priest. I never told anybody. Nobody knew I was bulimic for 6 years. It was, and I was throwing up 5 times a day. I mean, Now, my point is, now it's a lot different. So I think more people, the kids will talk more now. I think so. We are getting somewhere. You know what I mean? That's my point. We are getting somewhere. If it will ever go away, I mean, I don't know, but
I don't know
we have,
go away, but I do feel
you
like
know,
to make more strides, like you said, with awareness and making it okay to be oneself and to speak up and to be able to be okay with it as a kid going to therapy. You know, like,
mhm,
hopefully, it's okay that they go.
mhm. Like
Sometimes
therapy,
yeah,
therapy. Who doesn't go to therapy?
right.
Therapy should be recommended to everyone, right? But
Mandatory.
me again, I'm going to bring back my past
Yeah.
when my period stopped, because first I was anorexic. My period stopped. I finally told my mom, I didn't get my period. I was really, really thin. I wore sweatpants all the time. They were like falling off of me. My mother brought me to the gynecologist. Well, their answer was make her eat. It wasn't like, yeah. So I was 16 and make her eat. My point is that now I would have been going to therapy, getting help. So I do feel happy about the strides that we've made. And like I said, the as far as internet goes, and there's the bad and the good. We spend a lot of time on social media and all that, but look at the good it's done too. So
And yeah, and I think that since there's so much at our fingertips with Google and being able to type everything in, everybody has the same access to information. The issue comes with how do we change the behaviors? How do we shift our beliefs? How do we start self love and self care and stop the self negativity? That's the hardest part I find for people when they come to me, because I have services also. I work with clients who come to me talking about weight and talking, because I am not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not an RN, I'm not a doctor. I coach people through their dietitians. Like, their dietitians are like, okay, you need to do this. Okay, how do I do it? Where do I go? Let's investigate ingredients. Let's talk about what they're talking about for you to help you in your journey. And it's the hardest part, because our belief system and our emotional trauma that we've experienced, I don't think they're connecting the two. Like therapy, dietitians, doctors, it's a whole team in order to get us to the place we need to be. It takes so much more than just, oh, go make her eat.
amen. Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. And you know
Ugh.
what that led me to? I'm going to throw this up. You're gonna make me eat because I had an Italian father, an Italian mom. I had 10 siblings, right? But my mom made dinner every night. My mom, that's all she did was cook, clean. We had 2 washers, 2 dryers. That's all my mom did. Um, they would literally grab me and make me eat. And I don't know how I learned to throw up. I have no idea, but that was my answer. That was my answer.
You had
You know,
control.
man.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
your,
all about control. It was definitely about control, especially when I lost control over my body from the priest, and lost control. I had control over my food. Nobody was going to tell me, but then the
yeah.
food controlled me. I mean, I wrote about it, and it's a crappy road. It's a crappy, shitty, crappy road. But like I told Dylan on the podcast, I wouldn't change a thing. I would not change my past for nothing, because I have so much empathy. I am pure love. I am rainbows and kitty cats, where my kids will say, Mom, it's not all rainbows and kitty cats. And I'm like, why not? Yes, it is, because that's the way I choose to look at things. I find the good rather than focusing on the bad. I think there's a lot of good in the world. So I focus on that. I focus on there's so many good people out there rather than there are bad, but I focus on good. That's what brought me that, all that adversity in my life brought me here to doing this, to being the person that I am and accepting everybody, like the woman that I'm going to be sitting down with after this was afraid. And I'm going to say this on the podcast. The only reason I'm saying it, she's a bigger woman, beautiful woman. She did that thing on TikTok, and I wrote her. I have no, thank you, Gary V again. I wrote her. I said, what's the best that could happen? I wrote her on Instagram. She wrote me back. Yes, I'll be on your podcast. But then she looked at my profile and she saw that I was a personal trainer and I've had 5 kids and I look the way I do, whatever that is. And she didn't want to write me because she was like, embarrassed. And it made me cry. And I got right back. I'm going to cry. I got right back to her and I'm like, so not like that. I am so not like that. And even when I train people, I even did a TikTok about the scale and that it's a piece of metal. And it had so much control over me for so many years. I use it once, like if I'm training somebody, but how do you feel? I feel empowered. I feel strong. You don't have to be, or, you know what I mean? So I got right back to her and we had a beautiful talk and she's going to be on. So.
And I think with more the connection, and when we have that connection with someone, and the stereotypical way of somebody, I think so-and-so is this way because she looks that way, or I think so-and-so must have everything together because she puts the appearance on. And it's not that way. What is beneath your smile? What is beneath the facade? What is beneath it? Everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time. Like, it has nothing to do with what you look like. And if people get off that stigma of, okay, all that, it just, everybody has the heart. Every time I do like a live on TikTok, I see a heart and a soul coming through. I don't want to look at their picture, even though I prefer that they have a picture of themselves on their bio so that it's not a kid or something, coming into the live. But yeah, they're just humans. We're all humans in life, trying to shine brighter together. That's all we can do, is have that connection. And I think we're missing that since the pandemic, how we're having a hard time, especially, I'm an introvert, but I know a lot of extroverts are having a harder time with not being able to connect with each other and hug and talk and have that connection. It's very difficult. TikTok is
I'm an introvert too. I'm an introvert. It may surprise some people, but I am a complete introvert. I'm loving being home. But this is what I mean about even if that support is coming in this way, like I told Mindy yesterday when I was sitting down with her with the podcast, I said, I feel your love right there. I see you. And I said, I think you feel my love too. And I got the chills, and I'm getting the chills now. If you saw my hair popping up on my arms, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. And yes, COVID has been really, really hard on some people, but this is why I love TikTok. I'm bringing TikTok back because I have found that it has been the warmest reception out of any social media platform. Thank you, Gary V again, because I was like, I'm not doing TikTok, and I'm running, and every morning I run, I listen to Gary V, and I'm like, I'm not doing TikTok. I'm not doing TikTok. I'm not doing TikTok. I swear I'm shocked at myself that I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. And people again, see, I'm saying it again. I'm catching myself at least. If you want a really wonderful group of people, please try out TikTok. I mean, if you're feeling alone and feeling the wrath of like COVID and being just try it, because I have every single person I've sat down with have said the same thing, that TikTok like pretty much changed their life too. So
hard to open, especially as we get older, to be open to new ideas. And the idea of going to TikTok to me was like, oh gosh, another social media I'd have to do. But it's so completely the opposite. It's not only positive, but it is for adults. I was telling my kiddo when we were walking, I've been walking every day and doing the TikTok. But I was telling him, he's like, it's for kids still, Mom. I'm like, you have your, there's the kid group. I get that. But moms are very strong and supportive with each other because we've been through it, and we can help uplift each other when we're feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm a horrible mom. I didn't do this. Da, 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 da. Some of the TikToks on there are like, yes, you just
yes.
reached in and pulled my heartstring. You are going through what I'm going through. Ma.
Yes, my back. And don't you just love our age?
Yes, I love it.
Being over. I just love my age. I don't want to go back. I love my age even more being on here because I have found people in my age bracket. My kids have given up TikTok because of me because they're like, okay, Ma, now you're like TikTok famous. I only have like a little over 7,000, but I'm like, I'm not. I just like, but they see me with my little thing I set up and all this stuff, and they're like, whatever. But
I've grown.
It's gonna end. It's gonna end someday. But right now, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's a growing process, and I feel like I always call it TikTok therapy because even though, I'm in between therapists right now. And so I go there and I see the happiness. I see some sad things. I see some things that tug on my heartstrings. We go on live, we get to know and meet people that we've never thought we could ever meet before. It's just like, they always say, have friends who are younger than you, have friends who are older than you, have friends from a different country. And this is have here. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yes, TikTok.
Yes. Yes. And what you're talking about, support and all that, right? If I don't go on live, like I started doing live maybe, I don't know, a month and a half ago, 2 months, and I really didn't want to do it because I'm like, oh my God, another thing to like fill with my day that, it's just like, who has the time? But, like, I'm like, I think it's important to be thankful for your community and people who follow you, no matter what. So I go on, and now I've got a few, like a very small little group of people. I want to say maybe 6 people that come on regularly, right? Now, I didn't go on live for like maybe one day because I was really busy. And I had people in my DM, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you feeling okay, Lenora, today? Not even my best friends do that. Like, it's like, and my heart was, my heart was like, and days where I'm feeling like nobody loves me. Like, I'll tell my husband, my friend's here. I'm like, no, they haven't gotten in touch with me. And my husband's like, hon, you have 7,000 friends. I'm like, that's TikTok, hon. He's like, they love you, hon. They love you. And I'm like, I go on live and I feel that love, man. I feel it. It's like, and every once in a while you get those creeps kind of. You gotta block, which I never did, which I try to go, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You can redeem yourself. Like, my husband will listen to my lives. He's like, hon, you handle that so well. But like, I hate to just like be so abrupt. I like to like give people the benefit of the doubt. I'll be like, I'll give you another chance to redeem yourself. And it never really happens. And I'm like, all right, I have to block you. I'm gonna block you. But that doesn't really happen too often.
It out loud. I'll read something and it'll be so far out in left field that I don't even read it or acknowledge that it's there, and I just block. I
know. I've gotten, I like to give people that, like I said, the benefit of the doubt, but there are some not so nice people, I guess, out there. But so how did you, now let's talk about your Facebook group. How did you come up with that name?
The sunshine up in our live when we were doing a live. I'm like, welcome to the Sunshine Crew. And because my website is itstimesunshine.com. And so I started Mikey, just Mikey on TikTok. I got a hold of him, and he's doing kind of like a big community on my website. It's going to be kind of like—
Who is that? Who is that? Mikey?
Just me, Mikey. He's with Webcidity. His website is Webcidity and breaktherage.org. And so he is creating a community that is like Facebook a little bit, where you can get in touch with friends and things, and you have to sign up to be in it. It's completely free. You know, like we talked about earlier, we don't make money on this at all.
Yeah, right. We don't. Don't.
Yeah, it's just, it feels good to be able to talk it out. So you go in and you can actually write a blog if you want. You can make it public or not public. You can communicate with each other, that kind of thing. So it's kind of going to be like Facebook. It'll be ready in a couple weeks. So in the meantime, I went ahead and did the private Facebook group to get us started, to get us connected. And so that's called Sunshine Crew Mental Health Support Group. And so that's where we are now in the private Facebook group.
I'm gonna definitely. I will. Do you have a link tree by any chance?
I do, yes.
And that has all the information in it, right? That's great, because then I could just copy and paste it on the show notes. And the smile behind, is that your signature shirt?
That's my logo.
And then what's beneath your smile? I love that.
And I've got the merchandise has a lot. I've got one that has beach vibes on it, which is really cute because of the hands. And because of the hands, I saw the smile and I'm like, okay, that's great. I love the smile. She looks content. I call her. And even though the hands aren't this way, I wanted it to make it look like somebody is holding your face. We're holding and lifting each other up. And so that's why we have the thumbs going that way, because I wanted, it's time, sunshine. Because if you hold your face, it's comforting. And this was actually on TikTok too. Not a lot of people get a lot of touch, and touch therapy is beautiful. And so for somebody to be able to hold you and lift you up and hold and say, it's time, sunshine, it's time. It's time for what you're ready for. Are you ready to make that step, whatever it's time for you?
I love it. I love it. I've been known as a hugger, and that's been rough, because I'm a hugger. So that was the one thing that was really hard with COVID with me. So, although I am an introvert. So anything else you'd like to share? Because this was one of the best sit down, just casual intertwining, which I love. I love it. I'm going to be on your Facebook Thursday.
Yeah, my YouTube is Tea Time with Sunshine. And so that's
okay. Is that on your link tree? That's on your link tree, right? Okay.
And so I'm doing that because I would like to eventually branch out into podcasting. I don't know if that's going to be, if that's going to happen or not, but I'm like you, I'm just going for it. And I think I've learned so much with TikTok, getting myself out of my comfort zone. I am not a video person. I never was. When I went to do Facebook videos, I felt so nervous. And that's what I love about TikTok. We're just chatting. That's it. I'm so much easier and more comfortable with just chatting. And that's what I love about your podcast. That's what I love about TikTok. It's just, we're just out here for a chat. We're not doctors. We're just saying what happened to us and what works for us. Yeah,
exactly. I love that. I love it. That I think you should definitely go for that. I don't think it's any much more than what you're doing. I think that you can probably do what you're doing with the podcast and then put it onto Anchor, and then Anchor distributes to all the major platforms. That's what I do. So I don't think I didn't do it myself last year. I had somebody do the whole Anchor thing, but I don't think it's like really intricate or anything.
And that's
like that.
If you go to just _me_ Mikey on TikTok, you can see his link. He did his own. He created his own. It's not Linktree, it's Link Out. He created that himself. He's a mastermind. And so he's the one that's doing the website, and he's doing KSYL, Keep Shining Your Light Family, KSYL Family. And he did breaktherage.org. And he's also doing probably a podcast in the future. And so he is,
Cool.
yeah, extremely helpful.
That's nice. Send me if you can remember to send me a DM with him with his name. Maybe a text. So I remember that. Any parting words? And
Yeah.
everybody, her information will be in the notes below. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, we are never alone. And when you feel you can't reach out to someone you think needs reaching out to. Because when you reach out to that person, they're there for you, you're there for them. It's very difficult to reach out to someone when you're at your lowest of lows because you feel like a burden, and you aren't. So if you just think of it as, I'm going to reach out to somebody who I think needs to be reached out to, then you make that connection and you can work with each other and tell each other the stories, non-judgmental, non-advice, just being relaxed in a relaxed atmosphere, talking about them, which in turn helps you to talk about yourself. Thank you so much.
I love it. Amen. And I felt that way with you today. I felt like that's what we did today.
Absolutely.
So it's good. Hold on one second. If you guys have joined me before, you know my little spiel at the end. So I do give out my phone number, my Google number for anybody who wants to talk, anybody who wants to give me any feedback about the show, anybody who wants to be on the show. My Google number will be below, 609-429-4058, along with all my links. I do talk about the nutrition bar that I sponsor. Actually, I'm just an ambassador and affiliate. This is not a sponsor. I just believe in this bar. It's a nutrition bar, Rawr bar, RAWR. They give 10% of their net proceeds to feed the hungry children worldwide. That's what drew me into the company. They're vegan, but any diet, good for any diet. They are protein packed, 19 to 21 grams of protein a bar, organic ingredients, 11 to 13 net carbs, which really low on, for glycemic index, which is really good. No artificial sweeteners, put together by coconut oil, which is really good for your brain. Coconut nectar, blackstrap molasses, a little bit of Himalaya salt, owned by a very young couple, Jake and Rachel. Very nice people. And I would appreciate it if you do order from the link below. That's my affiliate link. It'll help me and it'll help them. So thank you for listening to that whole spiel. And as usual, everybody, have a wonderful and blessed day. And thank you so much, Lori, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
So much. Thank you. Namaste.
Bye-bye. Namaste.